There are monsters, and then there are monsters who never look like monsters. Imagine your daughter, your sister, or someone you love, walking across a college campus on a bright afternoon. A handsome young man smiles at her. He looks educated, polite, safe. His arm is in a cast. He asks for one simple favor. Could you help me carry these books to my car? She smiles back. She says yes. And just like that, she vanishes. No screams, no witnesses, no sign of a struggle, only silence. For years, police searched for a monster, but they were looking for the wrong face, because the real monster wore clean clothes, spoke with confidence, studied law, volunteered in political campaigns, and could convince almost anyone that he was a good man. His name was Ted Bundy. He wasn't just one of America's most notorious serial killers. He changed the way the world defines evil forever. But Ted Bundy wasn't born a monster. At least, not the kind anyone could recognize. He grew up looking like an ordinary American kid, quiet, intelligent, curious. To neighbors, teachers, and even friends, there was nothing about him that suggested one day his name would become synonymous with evil. As he grew older, he learned something that would become far more dangerous than violence. He learned how to earn people's trust. He discovered that a warm smile, steady eye contact, and the right words could open almost any door. By his early 20s, Bundy had built the image of the perfect young man. He studied at university. He dreamed of becoming a lawyer. He volunteered in political campaigns. He dated. He laughed with friends. He blended into society so perfectly that no one imagined the darkness growing inside him. Then, without warning, young women began disappearing, one after another. No signs of a struggle, no obvious suspects, no witnesses who saw a violent attack. It was as if they had simply vanished into thin air. Police believed they were dealing with unrelated missing person cases, but they were wrong. A pattern was slowly emerging. Nearly every victim was young. Most had long, dark hair. Many were students, and several witnesses remembered seeing the same man shortly before the disappearances. He wasn't threatening. He wasn't acting strangely. In fact, he looked like someone who needed help. Sometimes his arm was wrapped in a sling. Other times, he walked with crutches. He would politely ask a young woman to help him carry books or load something into his car. Just a small favor, nothing more. It was a trick so simple. Who would refuse to help an injured man? That single moment of kindness was exactly what Bundy counted on. By the time his victims realized something was wrong, it was already too late. And while fear slowly spread across college campuses, Ted Bundy continued living two completely different lives. During the day, he looked like the man every parent would trust. But when night fell, America's most terrifying predator went hunting again, and the worst part, no one had any idea that the killer they were desperately searching for was already standing right in front of them. By the summer of 1974, fear had spread across the Pacific Northwest. Parents begged their daughters not to walk alone. College campuses that once felt safe were now filled with anxiety. Police departments worked around the clock, but every new lead ended in another dead end. The killer left almost nothing behind. No reliable witnesses, no clear motive. It was as if he knew exactly how investigators thought and stayed one step ahead every time. Then something unusual began appearing in witness statements. Different people from different cities described the same man. Handsome, well-spoken, driving a light-colored Volkswagen Beetle, and introducing himself with one simple name, Ted. It sounded too ordinary to be important. Thousands of men were named Ted. No one imagined that clue would eventually become one of the most infamous names in criminal history. As investigators slowly pieced together the disappearances, Bundy wasn't slowing down. He was becoming bolder. His confidence kept growing. Each successful crime convinced him he was smarter than everyone chasing him. Then he made a mistake. A police officer noticed suspicious behavior during a routine traffic stop. Inside the car, there were items that didn't belong to an ordinary driver. Handcuffs, a crowbar, A ski mask. Rope. The explanations Bundy gave sounded convincing at first. But something didn't feel right. He was arrested, yet even then many people refused to believe he could be a serial killer. He looked too normal, too educated, too calm. Some even thought the police had arrested the wrong man, and that was exactly what made Ted Bundy so terrifying. He didn't fit anyone's idea of a monster. While investigators built their case, Bundy did something almost unbelievable. He escaped, not by using violence, not with the help of an armed gang. He simply waited, studied every weakness in the system, and took his chance. For the second time, he escaped again. The entire country was stunned. America's most wanted killer had vanished, and somewhere out there he was free once more. What happened next would become the darkest chapter of the Ted Bundy story, because after his second escape, he no longer cared about being careful. He only cared about killing. What happened after Ted Bundy's second escape shocked the entire country. He fled hundreds of miles away, hoping to disappear under a new identity. But instead of hiding, he became even more dangerous. The careful man who had spent years earning trust was beginning to lose control. The crimes became faster, more reckless, more violent. Investigators later believed he knew the walls were closing in and that his time was running out. For weeks, fear spread across communities. Parents refused to let their children walk alone. Universities increased security. Every unexplained disappearance raised the same terrifying question: was Ted Bundy here? Then, everything came to an end because of something incredibly ordinary. A patrol officer noticed a suspicious vehicle. It looked like a routine traffic stop. Nothing dramatic, nothing unusual. But as officers questioned the driver, they realized they were face to face with one of the most wanted fugitives in America. This time, Ted Bundy wasn't getting away. As investigators gathered more evidence, the truth became impossible to deny. The charming law student, the polite volunteer, the man with the perfect smile, had spent years hiding behind a carefully crafted mask. His trial became one of the most watched criminal cases in American history. Instead of appearing frightened, Bundy often seemed confident. He questioned witnesses, argued with prosecutors, and at times, behaved as though he believed he could still outsmart the entire courtroom. Even more disturbing, some people continued to admire him. Letters arrived from strangers. Supporters filled parts of the courtroom. Many couldn't understand how someone capable of such horrific crimes could appear so ordinary. But appearances had fooled people before. They wouldn't fool the evidence. Before his execution in 1989, Bundy admitted responsibility for numerous murders. Investigators believe the true number of victims may never be known. Some families never received answers. Some disappearances remain unsolved to this day. Ted Bundy left behind more than a trail of victims. He changed the way police investigated serial crimes. He forced investigators to improve communication across jurisdictions. And he taught the world a lesson that still echoes today. Real evil rarely announces itself. It doesn't always hide behind a terrifying face. Sometimes it wears a clean shirt. It smiles politely. It asks for your trust. And by the time you realize who it really is, it's already too late. If this story changed the way you think about evil, make sure to subscribe. Because every week, we uncover another true story that proves the darkest nightmares are often completely real.